So today I just want to have a little natter about euphorbias. And up at Grassy Bottom, as far as I'm concerned, they are the most valuable plant in the garden through winter. Although the grasses do look absolutely fantastic through winter, with the sort of dying skeletal forms, the euphorbias, the wulfenii that I've got, are the ones that are the standout plants, and they look absolutely fantastic, and they just get better as winter comes along. Especially this one here. This is the one I go on about quite a lot, which is called Malachi, and it comes through purple and gold, John Tomlinson, Jimmy Platt, loads and loads of other different forms. And it was the seedling that I selected out many years ago at a previous address, and that's why I call it Malachi. And one of its nice features as winter approaches is all the tips go this reddy purple colour. Now, they're not doing it yet because we're not close enough just yet to when they'll do this, but that's what they do. So through winter, you can just see now, I mean, we're only in November now on a rainy day, but look what that's offering. That's looking really nice. Now, there are several different types of euphorbia that I have up at Grassy Bottom, and they're all, well, this one here in particular is a Caraceus species, and a subspecies, wulfenii, that I've named, and they are quite big, and they're Mediterranean spurges, but in the UK, they do quite well. I'm not sure whether they come from the same sort of temperate climate as ours, but anyway, they do really well. There's a smaller variety one here, and that one's quite a common one, and it's called Black Pearl, and it really is a stunner. And the reason it's called Black Pearl is because when spring comes and it produces its flower, it has a black pearl-like looking inner to the flower, so it's quite a standout plant. Now, a few I've noticed actually do that, but Black Pearl in particular does it really well, so it stands out quite a lot. Now, as I said, I have several plants of euphorbia, and there are different types. Now, this one here, this is Euphorbia purpureum, and it's not looking purple at the moment because we're a bit early. Again, as winter approaches, in fact, it's just starting to take on its tones, and it'll go a really deep red purple colour. And it's really valuable in a winter garden to have these types of plants. And this one here, this is China clover, but obviously that's not euphorbia, but that's quite valuable as well because it is evergreen, or ever brown in its case. Now, when the euphorbias spread seed, which they do quite a lot through spring and summer, they tend to have quite a lot springing up all over the place. And what you really need to do is you need to really select the better ones. So I always tend to go for the blue ones, the bluer leafed ones. So bluer, silvery grey, grey, blue, blue grey, whatever. If you can usually spot them a mile. If there's like a cluster of seedlings around it, you will see the better looking ones. They do stand out quite a lot. So even now in November, look at that, it's just looking fantastic. So I've got other types of euphorbias, some not so good, some don't do as well as others, but they all do quite well. Now, these have been recently moved, but these are a bit further on and are showing a better colour than the last Euphorbia purpureum that I've just shown you. I have other types of euphorbias in here, a palustrous type, this one here, and it produces this lovely looking stem. Now, it's only failing at the minute is that I've had plants around it, and I've recently removed those, so they've damaged it a little bit, but it doesn't matter. I mean, it's going to come back. It's coming back from the centre. If you can see down there, you can see all the new growth. It's all ready to go. Don't worry about winter coming, because spring's just around the corner from that. So they're looking really nice. Now, there are taller types of euphorbia, and one in particular that's really good. I can't remember the second part of the name, but it's euphorbia, and it's one called Excalibur. And again, it's starting to push through. Now, the beauty about Excalibur, it's a taller growing one, but what it does do is it has a lovely spring colour. In fact, it's that kind of not as, it's better than that. That red edge you can see there, it is absolutely deep and further in the leaf as it approaches spring, it pushes up and then it becomes better and better. So that's a really, really nice one. So I've got, as I said, I've got several different types. There's one called Mercenites. I can't show you that because it's in a different part of the garden, and that's a flatter variety. But it's a really nice one as well. Back to these. Now this is the Bob Brown selected form. Bob Brown of Cotswold Garden Flowers. So if you go on his site, CGF it's called, you'll find some cracking plants on there anyway. But this one in particular is quite a good one. And I was a bit harsh with this one last year because I didn't think he'd taken a very good cutting, but actually he did. It's fantastic. Now I've managed to get it going again now, and I managed to get cuttings off that as well, because I thought, I despaired because I thought I was going to lose it. And these things aren't cheap to buy to start with for a little 1 litre pot. They can be up £10 and upwards. Now the one behind it, that's just a selected seedling again that I got at the same time as one I've just shown you. But it's not as good. You can see it's not as good colour. But all the babies underneath, look at that. That's all next year's or the year after's flowers. These ones at the top, they'll all produce flowers off the top, big yellow flowers. They're huge on some of them. So they look really good. And this one will do it. But some of them don't flower as well as others. So just before we get totally rained off, let's just whip up the other side of the garden and see if we can find the Mercenites. So there we go. There's Euphorbia Mercenites, and there's one called Rigida, which I absolutely love as well. It's a taller variety than that, more rigid as the name suggests. But anyway, it's a real nice one, and that will do well in a gravel area as I've got it here. Now there's another Euphorbia here, and I cannot think of its name. It's fairly new to me, but it's a more squat one, but it has a beautiful, beautiful colour as spring approaches again, and it flowers. The main bits you see there is flowers actually, and it really needs cutting back. So again, another Euphorbia sat back there. And look at that, that's just absolutely wonderful. That's stealing the show at the moment, and that is a particularly good one. That has a huge flower head on these ones. That was just selected from the same batch as the others. Now, I can't show you the flower head at the moment because these things don't flower till spring. But just that, stunning. Absolutely stunning. And they complement my grasses absolutely beautifully. And that's why I collect them, and I love them. But I just love, look at that. That really is really nice. And like I say, in winter and through winter, these things do offer a lot in the garden, and a lot of people don't go for them, and I don't understand it. Look at that. That scene there just says it all. That's Malachi, looking absolutely beautiful. With the Miscanthus cherrygensis and the Ilotolophiums, they all work really well together. They're doing really well. I'll continue to collect Euphorbias because I absolutely love them. And there's another one here. This is from Beth Chatto, this particular one. Let's see if we can find the name of it in full. I'm sure it'll be under here somewhere. I do keep the labels. I don't throw labels away. And I tell you all never to throw your labels, but people still do. So this is Euphorbia Compton Ash. And it's a bluer, a small blue form. There's the flowers. It's been flowering for ages. But that's really nice. And look at that colour. It's more of a, I'd say a steely grey blue, that one. And it's not a very big grower, but it's got a lot to offer the garden at this time of year. And it is offering it a lot. And it looks absolutely fantastic. And I really do like it. Now, we'll end with this bizarre one that I bought from Beth Chatto's earlier in the year as well. Hopefully I can find the label for this because it's so bizarre. I've never had this one before, and it's new to them apparently. Now, it's not doing itself any favours because look at it. Look at the size of that. That's what, 5 foot. So it's too tall at the moment. And when I bought it with that one stem, I've got a neighbour to actually take. I've took some cuttings off it, and he's actually growing them on for me. He has more time than me. Here we go. Right, so this particular one will produce tall stems, lanky tall stems. And it's called Euphorbia shanica. We'll give you the name, see if you can see it. There you go, I'm shaking a bit because I'm freezing cold. Hang on, let's put it there. There's the name. Now that is a really, hang on, I usually zoom off too quick. Let's get a good show. There you go. So, that's going to be a bizarre one, that. I'm really looking forward to that one. And there are other euphorbias. I'm trying to collect more and more because I love them. They've got a good place in my garden. They work well with grasses. And I just love them for their interest and the winter interest. There's a small version of Malachi that will take all that space in the next 2 years. And I said I'd end on that last one, but here, let's end on this one. So this is another selected form that I pulled out of the garden. And this one's quite nice. It's just a wulfenii, but it's quite a nice one. So if you're looking for them, try and aim for Euphorbia Cariakis subspecies wulfenii. They're the better ones in my opinion. Cariakis can be very, very tall and sort of spindly and gaunt looking, but nevertheless very beautiful. And then they produce this subspecies called wulfenii, which is more domed, more squat, which would probably suit more people. But I like just the straight Cariakis, the wulfenii, yeah, the Cariakis as well. They're fantastic as well. And I love them. I love them. I can't highly recommend them enough. So there you go. Euphorbias on a rainy day. Okay, talk to you later. Ta-da.